So let's have these women up on stage and continue that idea. Sheena Thomas, Fuels Strategy and Product Manager from Z Energy. Dr. Nicole van der Laak, who's the Enterprise Development Advisor at Victoria University. And Kirsten Corson, who's the co-founder of YouGoShare. Welcome to all. And so the easier way is just to begin by all of you introducing yourselves with a bit more detail, what you do in your business, and perhaps, your title and what you do.
Hi everyone, I'm Sheena Thomas, kia ora koutou. I work for Z Energy, we're New Zealand's largest fossil fuel retailer.
A brave woman.
Yeah. but I have the best job in it. I look after future fuel strategy, so my role is all about how do we help New Zealand and our customers move towards a low carbon future, and the suite of technologies and fuels that can get us there. So I look after biofuels and hydrogen, and together with a colleague, also in electrification and what role we play there.
Thank you.
No mai, haere mai. Kirsten Corson, I'm a co-founder and GM of YouGoShare. I guess I was stupid enough to think that setting up an electric vehicle car sharing business wouldn't be that hard. And we launched last year in Christchurch with 100 pure electric vehicles and installed 102 chargers in the city, which was a little bit more challenging than what I quite thought.
While I've got you there, can you just differentiate from Lime? How does yours work, and why do people choose your service?
Good question, Liz. Similar, except YouGoShare is cheaper than a Lime scooter, and you need to return it to the base as well. So we don't have juicers at this stage. We've installed a charging framework, and our business launched on the back of an initiative with Christchurch City Council and 9 other businesses where they made a commitment to exit 110 vehicles from Christchurch. So we have what we call hubs and car parks, and for someone like Christchurch City Council, they've got 50 vehicles within 2 minutes walk of their office that are all pure electric vehicles. Yeah, and we're cars.
Yeah.
We're pure electric cars.
Yeah. Wow. And the business has grown to over 2,000 bookings a month. Is that right? That's extraordinary. 225 tons of carbon have been saved by you. How does that feel?
It feels really good, and look, all I can say is that we're a really small business. You know, we're a startup Kiwi business, and if we can save 225 tons of carbon, imagine what we all could do. And it isn't that. And we started with 100 pure electric vehicles. So, we can all create change in this country in a really positive way. And when you think, and this is a topic that doesn't get talked about much, and over 1,000 Kiwis die a year from air pollution related diseases. And and we're actually lucky in New Zealand. In Europe it's over 400,000, and in China it's over 1 million. So, if we can all do our little bit, and so many, do your little bit driving an EV, and it's really cool seeing the different people that use the service. And every Friday in our biggest hub in Christchurch, we have a training session, and anyone can come along if you're not feeling that confident with EVs. And our ambassador that takes it, he rang me one Friday and said, "Man, it felt like I was working in a rest home today. We had so many oldies, turning up to try the service." And I was talking to one of them on the phone, so I love, getting on the phone and listening to what customers say. And this old guy said, "Oh, I just feel like my generation's really stuffed up the planet, so I'm really keen to try your electric vehicles and to do my little bit to make a difference." So it's cool seeing that change, and we absolutely are in our infancy in New Zealand, but it's so exciting, to see that change starting. And I just apologise now, my husband always says at a dinner party, don't let her talk about electric vehicles or sharing, because she is never going to shut up. So
it's brilliant, I love it, and I do apologise, Nicole, because we diverted, but that shows we're quick adapters in New Zealand at any age. this ageism thing doesn't work because the older people are really good at getting it as well. Nicole van der Lack, your own lineage is extraordinary, a PhD from the University of Cambridge. Yes, if you could tell us a little bit about you and what you're doing.
So I'm actually at Victoria University at the moment. I wear two hats. It's a newly established role, so I work in the research office and in the VicLink commercialisation office. And the idea is to try and draw that linkage between early stage researchers and supporting them and bringing them on that pathway right through to the commercialisation route and out the door into the big world. I've just returned to New Zealand after 16 years floating around the world, so it's really nice to be back. I've been back 3 months at most. I just like to say, the onus is on you guys. You guys have such a positive environment here. It is just, I've sat in a few conferences since I've been back, and the energy and the positivity and the collaboration is like nothing else I've seen anywhere else in the world. So congratulations, and embrace that further, because I think it's really important in these sort of environments to bring us forward and actually make us stand out as a small nation that can do wonderful things. So I did my PhD in Cambridge. I did that in LEDs, light emitting dyes, that sort of thing. And then for the last 10 years, I've been floating around the world being a battery scientist, so trying to make batteries better. Not lithium, by the way.
Not lithium?
Not lithium.
For what reason? Why do you say that? We work
just because I never got into that technology, but I've worked
for ethical reasons, personal reasons?
No, just I happen to be working in other technologies, and find it fascinating. You can apply your skills as a material scientist to any type of technology or chemistry, and I just happen to work in lead acid or zinc bromine or some other things.
And I love that, just a throwaway line, I just happen to work in. It's so wonderful to hear this. And also you were a Gates Scholar, what did that involve?
So Gates Scholar is like a Rhodes Scholar at Oxford, but it's a little less well known, but it's building in profile. So it's supported by Bill Gates and Bill Gates Senior, and it's really to make people from across the world come to Cambridge, to give them an opportunity to study and then go back and change their communities. They're all about changing the communities, and it's taken me a while to come back, but hopefully I can change our community here too.
That's just brilliant. So the challenges and learnings of rolling out EVs into New Zealand, can you begin with addressing that? What are you looking at in terms of your business and the perspectives and the discussions you're having in a more traditional business?
Sure, no, Kirsten will probably have more of a view as well, but so I guess the benefit of working for a company that services the transport sector at the moment is that you see a lot of the demand side, and what we're seeing is a lot of customers do want to decarbonize. So individuals are certainly wanting to do that at one level, but I guess the part of business that I've been closest to of late is the commercial side of the business. And as you know, our chief executive, Mike, is the convener of the Climate Leaders Coalition, which is over 100 businesses now, representing over half of New Zealand's carbon emissions. And there is a huge drive from these companies to decarbonize. So they are looking at a suite of options, though. So not just EVs, but also what else they can do. So if they've got this massive fleet that's still reasonably new, and they can't move to EVs that quickly, then biodiesel is really a real option for them. They're even looking at hydrogen further down the track. But the main thing we're hearing at the moment really is the supply. And once they have that supply, so a company like New Zealand Post have been amazing and really leading the pack in terms of our customers. They've supported us with our biodiesel plant right from the start. They were an early adopter. But funnily enough, their diesel use is reducing because they're electrifying more and more of their fleet, which is brilliant. But now they've got the conundrum of, okay, how do we charge all of these? And what do we do about that? And electricity loads and things like that. So, the collaboration is really important, and just offering help as well, because these companies are trying to do the right thing, but because it's all still so new, they need all the help they can get.
I addressed you first, Sheena, because when Z came on into the market, it very much was positioning itself as caring about the environment, caring about social issues, caring about wanting to know what Kiwis care about. Are you getting a lot of this feedback loop that Kiwis really do want that change? You alluded to that.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'd say even more so in the last probably year and a half. it seems to have really gathered steam. And we started rolling out electric charging stations with Dee and Steve, years ago. Actually, I remember, because I've been at Z a long time, I started in comms. In 2011, we put in Wellington's first electric charger at Harbour City, and it was just a bollard, basically. And there were 2 electric cars, I think, in central Wellington at the time. And they basically use it as their parking spot, park in there for like 8 hours, go shopping. But yeah, absolutely, it's what our customers want increasingly.
Lovely. Kirsten, the challenges of rolling out EVs?
Where to start? I guess a big message that I would say for everyone in the room is leadership. So we've seen businesses that have come on board and their staff have come on board, and that's purely by the leadership in the business. And there's still so many government agencies would be at the top of my list for apathy. And also corporates that are just doing the same thing that they've always done. You know, they are happy to put sustainability in their annual report, but they're not walking the talk and making the change. And to give you an example of a business that I think has been a shining light around this space, and it's not often I say nice things about city councils, but certainly Christchurch City Council, they made a commitment. They sold 55 of their cars. 5 of those were EVs and 50 of those were petrol cars to use YouGoShare, and they obviously brought other businesses alongside them to support us in the city. And that was purely due to the leadership from Leanne Dalzell and Vicky Buck. And they permeated that through their organisation really successfully. And our job was to support those staff to get them to a stage where they were confident. And and I often tell the story, in the early days we'd have every staff member would be on the phones answering calls, and it was from people going, I just want to drive my Toyota Yaris, and they're making me drive your electric vehicles. And you go, it's okay, you can do this. And so it was, holding the hands of those people. We had ambassadors in the car parks full time, helping people. It is okay,
That's extraordinary. Did that come from your vision? That's that real communication. We've talked a lot about the need for comms. Good communication on all of this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. We had videos, we did training sessions. We still have training every week to support people, because for some people it's really easy, but for a lot of people, getting in an electric vehicle is really daunting. Really daunting.
What's the main concern?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Just that
it's a change process.
Yeah. And actually, Dee started off this morning asking if Mike Hosking was in the room, given his great support for electrification. I'm asking Phil Goff. Phil Goff, anywhere here? Can we see? Where's our mayor? Where's our mayor for embracing this? I'll put that in right there. And Nicole, what about? You talked about collaboration. What are the benefits of much broader collaboration across the battery and the transport sector here?
I think we need to see collaboration in all forms of research and innovation. There is a commercialization aspect and the dollar counts, but there is so much stuff that's not commercially sensitive that if we just stuck our heads together, we could solve big problems faster.
Give me an example of that.
Even in the battery scenarios, for example, I work with a lot of early stage research, which is really just out of the test tube, and we've got patents applications around it, but it just requires a whole lot of energy and knowledge, and some of it's just how to take those PhD students from the lab and say, now take your test tube battery and package it, and they have absolutely no idea. And it is not commercial knowledge, it's not commercially sensitive, it's just general know-how. So we need to be able to create an environment that's innovative, that's kind of taking things out of the research environment and sticking it in maybe an innovation hub, and it's not go solo in a startup by yourself where you've got a 70% of chance of failure, but somewhere in the middle where we go, let's bring experts around your technology, whatever that is, and build on it and let's not, we can do so much without even touching the commercially sensitive side of things. And the more we do that, the faster we're going to get there.
So is MB and the Callaghan Institute playing in that space a bit, putting business heads and inventors together? Are there any people helping with that at the moment?
Yes, and I think there's always room for growth. And I've been here 3 months and I've seen a lot already, but I think we can do better. We should do better, and the more people that stand up and champion and run the race first, the more we'll get everyone behind the scenes coming along board. It's about, I think we're too small to run as individuals. We don't have the big corporates here, and we've really just got to, come together and say, let's do this. And I think we're seeing that in the climate change marches and all the rest of it, but we need to actually do it in a kind of really inventive environment where we knock heads together and go, don't reinvent the wheel, I can show you how to do this, let's get going.
And when you were overseas, were there many of these funds and support networks for the people you were working with?
Yes, there's so much more money overseas, but even I've just come from Australia, but even the startup that I was involved with there, the funds actually came from an investment, an investor that was UK based. So even on this side of the world, we're still going back to Europe and America and stuff like that, and I think we just need to start investing internally here, because we can do exactly the same things, but we need to pull our resources.
Speaking of that networking, Kirsten, how do we create an atmosphere where the silent majorities can really feel involved in this? I mean, you were talking about holding their hands as they transition into an electric vehicle, but it might pique a lot of people's interest, and they might want to become part of this. What would you say people can do if they really start to feel, I've got something to offer here? I mean, we have inventors in this room, who could add so much.
I think of Dee West going, the first time I met Dee West, collaboration, and she looked around the room.
I didn't get a lot of response from the men.
Yeah. So that is a big part, and just adding to what adds to exactly what you said as well. That there is huge opportunity. There's great brain power, and there's great synergies. And we look at our competition respectfully, and we look at other forms of mobility, electric mobility, and go, there's such opportunity in New Zealand to partner to create ecosystems that make it, more effective and seamless for people to move around our cities.
Does it take our government, local or national, to drive that, or is it coming from bottom up, as it were? Do we lead the government, the politicians?
I actually agreed with you this morning that I feel there needs to be greater leadership from central government.
I was worried, if you weren't here, Julianne Gento sent us a message but said, I want to be kind of hands off and just leave it to all of you guys to do it. And I felt that's real application, because it feels like it should be such a partnership with them, listening to these ideas and then driving them.
So, and fairness, yes. I should probably just say, ECA with the contestable fund is, a fantastic initiative to support. And if there are, businesses that in the room that are looking to adopt EVs into their fleets, that's a wonderful thing to look at on the ECA website.
Did you have a lot of help getting this going?
Yes, we received 500,000 for ECA, and we like to say we felt that we justified it very well, because we've got great reach with over 4,000 members now, and we've taken people that had never driven EVs, and we've a great story. I was talking to a customer the other day, and we call it the club membership. So, and because it's quite hard to get Cantabrians out of their cars, believe me, they've got the highest ownership rate in the country, and quite traditional people. And so we thought, well, we've got to do something really inventive. So we started this club subscription model. So, it's private members that can pick up a car from 4 o'clock in the evening, and they drop it back to our hub at 8 o'clock. And it's $150, and you have a car for the week, basically. So and most of them are council guys, and I was talking to this guy on the phone, and I said, why did you sign up to be a club member? And he goes, man, I've got a Holden V6 at home. He said, I am the last person I thought would be driving an EV, But he said, when you started up in the city, I had to drive your cars because of the council. And he said, but now I drive them. He goes, and it started to feel really good. And I kind of felt like I was cheating on my Holden V6, which I really love. And
My father would be rolling.
He goes, I find myself driving home and enjoying driving a Hyundai Ioniq, and he said, I'm still coming to terms with it, but he said the big driver for him was the savings. So he lived 50 kilometres outside of Christchurch, and he said, I spent $120 a week on petrol, and then parking, and so he'd actually done the numbers.
Let alone what Philippe said this
Yeah.
morning, which is all the servicing is not
Yeah.
required on
Yes.
NZ, which
Yes.
just saves
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
Sheena, you wanted to add something to that?
Yes, on the collaboration piece, really, and yes, I agree that I can't think of a single country in the world that has made gains in cutting carbon emissions without a really robust policy framework, right? But in the absence of that, well, hopefully it's coming with the zero carbon bill at the end of the year, hopefully. In the absence of that, though, just consumer support is also really, really important. It makes a huge difference. So it gives companies like Z and other companies as well just the courage to invest, because these things, there's a certain point you can get to without spending too much money, and any gains after that, you just basically have to spend money to get those gains. And if consumers choose companies that are actively investing, that would give those companies more confidence to do so. So Z would be one of them, but there's also a company called Dempsey Wood. There's a construction company who are just really focused on cutting their emissions. So, every time you come across a company like that, I would suggest that, you put your money where your mouth is.
And share it. It does feel that kind of world that it's the people who lead the companies, who lead the politicians now. It's our pressure on them. Sheena, can you briefly address World Energy Scenarios, the study group insights you got there?
Sure, yeah, I was involved with the World Energy Council a while ago, and I agreed to be part of the scenarios back in 2015 when I was on maternity leave, because I thought I'm going to have a year off and I'm not going to be doing anything first child. That was a huge mistake. I learned lots though. So yeah, my focus then was actually randomly on e-mobility in the Caribbean, so that's not really relevant to us today. But what's happened since is that Business New Zealand Energy Council has adopted the World Energy Scenarios framework and basically done deep dives into New Zealand. And they are launching the updated version of Scenarios out to 2060 on the 13th of November, so keep an eye out for them for that. But basically, so they split it onto two possible scenarios, right? And no one's got a crystal ball, so it's a range, where what might actually happen could fall within that range, or there may be a complete wild card that helps us reduce our emissions dramatically before that. But the long and short of it is that in either scenario, one which is much more coordinated and one which is more individualistic, we are not going to achieve 1.5 degrees, right? Which is somewhat disheartening. So there needs to be some sort of radical change. Otherwise, we're just not going to get there.
And when I hear that, I think, well, what a wonderful challenge. Let's see if from New Zealand we can turn that around. Any questions from the floor? Thank you. Anyone would like to put some questions? All right, thank you so much. What a wonderful panel. And